like and subscribe. Now. Colorblind people of Reddit. What is one of the most unexpected problems related to color you face often? Trying to buy bananas. I can never tell which ones are or aren't ripe. Use sound/feeling instead. There's a big difference how the fruit feels. Being not ripe vs. ripe. Holds banana up to ear hello. How are you dealing with depression, restlessness, and burnout during the pandemic? I went to a small charter school for middle school. Our English/literature teacher was brand new to teaching. If I remember correctly, she was only 22, which seemed old at the time. She always did her best to be so cheerful and make learning fun, but the thing that truly solidified her spot as my favorite teacher was that for every student's birthday she would give you a personalized mini notebook. It was just a simple small composition notebook, but she had filled the first couple pages telling me how much she loved having me as a student, how far she knew I would go, and other affirmations. It seems small, but as a 13-year-old who had a crappy home life, it made all the difference in how I acted the rest of the year. When I was a kid, we had to purchase these red punch cards to get lunch at school. Unfortunately, we didn't have that much money, so there were times where my punch card would run out and I wasn't able to eat for a while until we got enough money to repurchase another one. Why nobody in my family applied for assistance was beyond me. I had one teacher who noticed I wasn't eating every day, and she would bring an extra sandwich and offer it to me whenever she saw that. I really didn't understand how kind that was when I was a kid, but obviously as an adult that was such an amazing gesture of kindness. In middle school I went through something similar. Would just go to my social studies class instead of the cafeteria for lunch. BC I never had food. Teacher started leaving a few dollars on my desk and would let me get lunch and eat with her. I ate with her most of my 8th grade year, and I'd always bring her money that I got like for day/holiday to try to pay her back. She just put it in her drawer and give it back to me later. I remember that to this day, and I try to make sure I have change and ones on me at all times for any of my students who need it, as well as keeping my bottom drawer stocked with snacks. My students always know they can count on me for food if they are hungry. What side character deserved more spotlight than the main character? I would have loved if Mulan 1998 focused more on the friendship between Mulan, Ling, Yayo, and Chin Pio. I really liked how they seemed to bond after Mulan got the arrow and the three started including her in things, like joking around each other during A Girl Worth Fighting For, and how they immediately followed Mulan when they said she had an idea. I wish there was more screen time for the four of them. Their dynamics are so fun. Yeah, she crashed the parade and they went to aid her with no hesitation, even though they could have been facing crime and punishment. This is gonna sound weird, but Salam from the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch, his character was just a goofy talking cat most of the time, and the few times we saw his backstory it was really interesting. I just feel like he was underutilized, but I haven't seen the new series, so they might be paying more attention to him. Salam isn't exactly in the new series. Sabrina has a cat familiar called Salam, but he doesn't take, nor is he a witch turned into a cat. In the new Sabrina, Ambrose has a lot in common with 90s Salam. He was part of a failed terrorist plot and the witch's council punished him by house arrest. Frozone from The Incredibles. His marriage issues, and the entire dynamic of him being married to someone without superpowers, as far as I can tell, would seem like a really interesting story to tell, and would make a fantastic comparison to the marriage/family issues that are examined with The Incredibles family. IRL friends of social media, influencers, what is it like? I know a 1AB influencer. She will reply to her own posts from her husband's account praising herself. Then she will reply to those posts as herself thanking him. It's hilarious, like Inception for Facebook. There's a neighborhood blogger and failed Republican politician in my city who does this on his blog comments and Facebook pages, but he makes up haters too. He frequently forgets to change accounts, so you'll see his admin account insulting him, and then another account will respond as him. It's actually hilarious to watch, as a gay black man. Clearly you're not the 50-something guy who found success as a local news blogger as traditional local news was collapsing in the late zeros, and then failed to turn that success into a political career, and is now bitter that another, much less weird, and much friendlier local blog is getting all the clicks. How dare you even accuse me of such a thing? His office will be in touch for unrelated reasons shortly. What's something you accidentally learned from a video game? Minecraft taught me chocolate is poisonous to parrots. So are avocados. Wait, there's no avocados in Minecraft. Moss taught me a surprising amount about avoiding scams. Never trust lag during a trade. Free armor trimming. Maps. I've noticed that I'm really good at reading maps compared to a lot of other adults, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me why until recently. I think all the years of having to navigate using maps in pre-objective marker days gave me a really good ability to translate the third world I see in front of me into the top-down map perspective and vice versa. Don't trust anyone, even your own team. Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege. What, sir? Today's going to suck. Red flag. So we are all going to have to double our efforts. The only effort in doubling after that one is looking for another job. Either that or double pay for double effort. I hope so for your sake. The Emperor is not as forgiving than I am. Ominous Imperial March. You have been in bed for 3+ hours and still are not asleep. Your boss decides to hold an unannounced staff meeting. You, him and our person, and your mother-in-law. HR and mother-in-law is the same person. Lucid dreamers of Reddit. How did you learn about lucid dreaming? Are there any tips you'd advise people that want to start? And are they actually as realistic as described? I had a dream journal for a while until it started predicting the future. No joke. Became scared of writing dreams down, so I stopped. About 60% of stuff I wrote down happened later. Could be I'm good at juicing, but it was too creepy. I sometimes have dreams like that too, but only predicting my future, not so much worldly events. Like I predicted the finale of my favorite show almost exactly. If you feel the 6, you'll probably wake up at the best part and have to clean up. Don't ask me how I know. Still totally worth it. Sounds like my last relationship. I often find returning to the nightmare immediately after waking up to be useful. I'll have something horrible happen, or be stalked by some monster or whatever, then return lucidly and deal with the threat. Then the nightmares tend to go away. What's a situation where you were far more lucky/fortunate than you initially realized? I was being a PP at a petting zoo a long time ago, sort of taunting this llama with food, wondering if it would spit at me and that it would be funny. So, it eventually did. Got a face full of this slimy bad breath smelling saliva, laughed it off with my idiot frat boyfriends and went to the bathroom to clean it off after gagging a bit. I only realized much later when I saw a video online that llama spit can be 1000x worse than what I received if the llama is truly upset. It's their defense mechanism for a reason. I had no idea it could be that serious/awful. I'm sure glad that llama let me off with a warning spit, or I don't think I'd have gotten a ride home that day. If your username were your talent, what would your talent be? I don't think I'd have one. Oof. I don't know. Well. Oh, it could be worse. Without giving any context, what happened? It came out covered in my own To make a long effing story short, I put a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass. Edit, you're uncultured swine. The bag, or one by one? This is a question I need an answer to. People who take massive war crime level dumps in public bathrooms but don't flush. Why? What if it's so large it doesn't flush? Quick military story. I used to be a missile officer in the Air Force a couple hundred times. 392 to be exact. In the mid 2000s, I went out to remote sites and commanded nuclear missiles, etc. Anyway, those remote sites had underground capsules replete with toilets. Some of those toilets didn't work too well on the solids, so some of my compatriots developed a poop knife, i.e. a button knife stolen from the site's kitchen tied/taped to a plunger handle. We used the poop knife for months, maybe years, can't remember exactly. but it cut a lot of poop down to size. Unfortunately, towards the end of my career going to those sites, that effing gross knife disappeared, and it was theorized that it went back into kitchen rotation. If I had to guess, it was a departing officer's way of saying F you to some pretty frustrating, stressful duty. Everybody was wary of every butter knife for months.